Hey, y'all. Well, y'all see I'm still holding my vape. And I told y'all I was quitting. Well, I did quit. I quit 2 months ago. So I actually, like a baby has stopped her bottle. I don't have any nicotine. There's nothing been in here. This thing has been empty for 2 months. But it's like my pacifier. I hold it. That's all I do. I put it in my mouth, but there's nothing in it to come out. So I'll eventually put down my passy. I'll eventually lose it somewhere, and I said that'd be it. That'd be it with my passy. So I've done good with the nicotine part. Of course, I have gained some weight because I've eaten a lot. But luckily, because of the fact that I only buy keto-related stuff. Now, somebody did leave a slice of pound cake in here a couple of nights ago, and I found it, and I ate it. But you know that sugar in that pound cake, because I don't eat sugar, it like put me into a sugar rush. Well, one of the reasons I wanted to get on here, because I got into a discussion, a sort of heated discussion with a transgender person over in YouTube. I've never had anything but very respectable conversations here in TikTok for some reason. And I know a lot of people get into a lot of bad comments, but I've been lucky that the kind of people that have been watching me on TikTok have been really good folks. You get a different caliber on YouTube. And this person, they started with me by saying that everybody should band together during this, that it was our responsibility as a community to band together and not try to pull people apart. I had to have a word of prayer with them. We have never been a community. No. The only people that were a community, like anything like that, in the days before the internet, you had some transsexuals that found each other through gay bars and drag bars and stuff. That's where the transsexuals found each other, because they were mostly heterosexual. They related as heterosexual in their minds as heterosexual women because they were naturally feminine. From the get-go, they had been naturally feminine creatures, is the reason they were so much easier to go over into the next gender. And I'm not saying that all transsexuals wind up being heterosexual females, but it usually does start that way. And there's a lot of different variables, I believe, that would pull someone into being in a, what I would consider maybe a lesbian relationship. But that's not here nor there for what we're talking about. Because this person was wanting to say we were all the same. We had to fight together. I said, the transsexual didn't start this trouble. The transsexual went out into the world. We were already feminine. Most of us looked easier as women, and more of us looked naturally female and naturally attractive females, so that you could go out into the world and live. That's the whole point. The whole point for me was not to be able to put on a dress and go into the women's restroom and say, hey, I'm a female, I can be in here to pee. No. That was the least of my worries. Because I could always go out behind a tree and pee. And have had to in the past. So, no. We're not the same as these transgender people. I'm not saying that a lot of people who think they're transgender are really transsexual. You have to know the difference in transsexual and the transgender who are what I always considered cross-dressing transvestite men that do it for a lot of reasons, fetishes and sexual reasons, that the transsexual doesn't do it for. The transsexual does it so they can be content with their own self. With me, I felt all I needed was to have my organs changed and I would be happy. And I was. I was. 50 years now. I still wake up every day and I'm so happy to have what I have. Even though I don't use it for anything anymore but to go to the bathroom. But it's there. And I feel content. Whereas before I could not function. I could not function happily knowing what I had. But those people, those transgender people, they were able to live normal lives as men. They built careers as men, had wives, children. And usually in the Caitlyn Jenner thing, whenever she talks about anything, it's about Bruce. It's about what Bruce accomplished. I would be thinking maybe I wanted to accomplish something as Caitlyn instead of constantly falling back on my male self, as if that was the most important part of my life. But this little thing at the end, whenever the penis stopped working, and all of a sudden my fetishes started hitting me in the face real hard, and I thought, well, I can do this now. Everything else is done over. But I'll sit and just throw up about Bruce for the rest of my life. Well, nobody's going to ever forget who Bruce was. But she's, in my opinion, not a female. Not in her head. I started so young that everything I ever did was as a female. And I learned real quick that I could go out in public and be accepted as a female, and I didn't have that to worry about. So I was one of the lucky ones. If you consider anybody that's being trans anything being lucky, because we're not lucky. I never could get with this trans pride. No. I have pride in the human being that I am, how I was able to deal with my life and go on. And have family and people who know me to be proud of me and what I was able to accomplish. To have a family that did not throw me away because I didn't act like these people do today. They knew that I could go into that world and succeed as a woman, as a human being, not as a trans woman. No. I just can't see my life ever paralleling these people at all. Never parallel. No. No. I don't have any more, in my opinion, I don't have any more to do with those people as I would just a regular heterosexual man out there.